Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of OfferVault TV's Earnings Per Call Show. I'm your host, Bill Somerville, founder of Insurance Paper Call Network, PolicyBind. And today we'll be shining the spotlight on another phenomenal player in the insurance vertical, and that's SmartFinancial. I've ran into this group in just about every single conference I've been on both the advertiser and the affiliate space since 2015, and they're a great team to work with. We can say that from experience. We're excited to have one of their top digital marketing managers, Lenny Kwan, on the show with us to share some of his wisdom today. Lenny and I share a deep curiosity for not only all things digital marketing, but I also found out that he loves a good cup of joe and that he's a budding home barista like myself. So first question, Lenny, I want to ask on a scale from 1 to 10, how caffeinated are you right now?
Thank you, Bill. I'd say I'm at a 3 right now. I've only had 1 cup today.
Just 1 cup?
Just 1 cup.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, and the show will probably go pretty well then. At 1 cup, it might not be too scattered. I want to jump right into it, Lenny. Could you tell the audience a little bit about your background in digital marketing?
Sure. So I started in the digital marketing industry in 2009 with a CPM-based ad network in West Hollywood called Engage BDR. Worked there for about 9 years, and most of their clientele when we started was a lot of direct response offers, your nutraceutical offers, and rewards offers. And then we also had insurance offers as well. Okay. And at the time, our immediate goal from the affiliate that was working with us was just to get the conversions. So it wasn't too much of a concern on my end on how the actual downstream goes. Like once we get the conversion, how do they handle it from there and that kind of thing. So we kind of dabbled in a lot of CPM to CPL arbitrage inventory. And then Engage BDR grew to a more programmatic in video.
Okay.
And that's what they're actually focuses now a lot nowadays is more the programmatic side. Although they still do have the old team, a lot of the old team there that was responsible for growing it with the affiliate offers. So they still do that on occasion as well.
Okay. Interesting. So in terms of pay-per-call, because I know SmartFinancial does a ton of pay-per-call, they do a great job in pay-per-call. When was your first experience with the pay-per-call model? Was it at SmartFinancial or was it before that?
We dabbled in it a little bit when I was at Engage BDR. It wasn't too much because looking back now, hindsight is 2020. Looking back now, we weren't actually set up to handle pay-per-calls very well in terms of tracking duration and tracking the actual conversion and all of that. We weren't prepared for it. So we tested it for a few days and found it just really we couldn't make it work. So
what year was this?
Oh, this was probably 2011.
2011. What was the context that the campaign came to? What were you guys trying to? What type of offer were you trying to push? Was it insurance related or?
It wasn't insurance. I really can't remember what it was. It was so long ago, but I just remembered it was a unusual offer because I had never heard of pay-per-call before. And then my boss came to me and said, "Hey, we need to run traffic for this pay-per-call." And I asked, "Can we even do that?" And he goes, "Yeah, you just track the phone number." I'm like, okay. So, I didn't have much detail on it. So I just ran with what the information I had was at the time. And, once again, looking back, wow, we needed more details. So
it was the tracking really that was detrimental to the campaign. It was just like you weren't properly tracking and routing the phone numbers to the best of the ability just because it was something new to you guys, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had no insight as to actually how it was performing. We knew what our media cost was, but we didn't know if the advertiser was actually performing well or not because we couldn't track a conversion off of a phone number.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ad server. I don't know if anything nowadays you can actually still do that or not, because I think it's all duration based. But Yeah, I mean, if it is trackable now, if they got into it, I'm pretty sure they could figure it out because it was still the age was still in startup mode back then. So now it's been around for 10 years. So I
Yeah,
think those guys have a grasp on how to figure it out.
sure. And Smart Financial, so your transition into Smart Financial. Question here, how'd you get picked up by Smart Financial? How did you get in with them, and how's that transition been from your last position over into the pay-per-call insurance space?
So the insurance industry, it actually, I actually kept stumbling upon it from time to time, and I always wondered to myself, how does it actually work? How I knew from by times in selling traffic to insurance, I knew how that end worked, but I didn't know deep down how do they move forward with the leads? How do they move forward with actually figuring out if it works or not? So I saw the opportunity with Smart Financial, and I inquired about it. Met with Michael and Lev and Nate, the COO. Met with
Nice.
their leadership team, and had some great insight. They saw that I had lots of experience in not only dealing with the supply side of things, but also a lot of technical experience. So
Sure.
that way I could troubleshoot any technical issues that arise, like post-back problems, pixel problems, that kind of thing. So that experience was valuable to them, and that I could quickly understand. And I have had some exposure to insurance before, not on a deep level, but they understood that I could figure it out really fast. So when trying to gather my thoughts here. Probably want to edit some of this. I'm pretty sure they'll figure out. All right, we should edit some of this out.
They will.
Yeah, yeah, all the dead air. So when I met with Nate and Lev, the Smart Financial, I think I joined right at the time as they were starting to take off and quickly become one of the leaders in the insurance space. And just having them behind me, it's a very good management team because they're extremely agile. They get the information that I need to know in order to make campaigns work, to understand if it's working or not, why it's not working, and what can be done to optimize and have the campaign back out. So that way I can relay that information to the supply partners and relay specifics such as, hey, let's work on this creative. Can we make these kind of changes? I've seen other competitors run these kind of creatives, that kind of thing. So
Okay. I was going to
no.
ask you an explanation of your position at Smart Financial, but I think that covers a little bit of it. Is there anything in addition to what you had just mentioned that affiliates should know? Should they come to Smart Financial to run any of their offers, like how you and they would be interacting on a daily or weekly basis?
So I keep it freeform. I don't go with any structure as to say, let's have a weekly conference call. If that's what someone wants to do, I do that. I do have that with a few of the partners I work with now. We just do a weekly call to touch base on what the campaigns are performing, what's coming down the pipeline. I have some that hit me up on a daily basis on Skype,
Sure.
and I work with them. So I make sure to stay in constant communication, so that way they know what's going on our end. I want to say very transparent on what we see, because I feel like it helps them to know what we're going through, what we're seeing. So that way they know, they can understand, hey, this is why I have to make this decision, or this is why this adjustment needs to be made, because on the opposite end, this is what's happening.
Sure, and that's a big value add to an affiliate. Uh, Being there, have an effective line of communication. Uh, are you? What other ways are you helping your affiliate partners to maximize the amount of revenue that they're making per call?
So what I like to do to help them out more is to just look through their user flow. Sometimes I'll run into an affiliate that's running their own form. And as I go through that, I treat it as if I was actually a user, as a potential lead. If I go through their form and then I end up, let's say, our form, our
Mm.
form is going to ask similar questions. And if I'm a potential customer filling that out, then I'm going to ask myself, wait, I just filled out this information. What do I got to fill out again?
Yep.
So what I try to do is I try and streamline the whole process for the consumer. So that way for them, it's easy, it's fast, it's done, and it's accurate. And that way we can get a quote out to them as soon as we can.
Hmm.
And also for the affiliate, that helps convert the lead faster.
Okay.
We also provide, if another metric we look at is I look at the actual call conversion. Well, overall we look at a quality score. We kind of grade the traffic on a quality score, which is a combination of the actual conversion that the affiliate sends to us, and then how we are able to convert that into an actual call to an agent,
Okay.
one of our agent partners. So a lot of the underlying work, or I want to say machine work there, probably not the best way to say that. Probably a lot of behind the scenes work that goes after what happens, the lead gets submitted.
Sure.
So we measure all of that into a quality score, and we present that to, and that's how we grade the affiliate performance. And what I like to do is, if someone's not meeting the quality score where we're hoping that they're at, I look at the specific parts where it's failing. Where's the opportunity here to improve. So typically, what I find lately is creative performance. Sometimes, you've anyone that's been in this space has probably seen those ads where it says, drivers are angry they didn't know about this, or if you've not had a DUI in 3 years, there's a trick that can help you out. Those kind of creatives, I see those all over the place. But
Sure.
I'm seeing a lot of creatives that are video-based creatives,
Okay.
um, and so I relay, I see these, and they tend to help. And then anything that also helps set the expectation for a consumer on what to expect. Like for example, I have one partner whose conversion whose calls weren't that great in terms of converting to a customer that's willing to receive a phone call.
Okay.
So I suggested, let's just make some changes to the creative itself, because I saw the creative and I said, okay, so we need to make sure that the customers know what the actual process is, what to expect. So that was the only change we made. It was just from I can't even remember the old creative. I think it was one of those, those DUI in 3 years.
Twenty
If you,
dollar a month insurance.
yeah, yeah. One of those, what I'm going to call generic creatives. And they changed it to where it stated that, it said something along the lines of receive a quote today, or expect a phone call, or to get the best rate, get on the phone with Smart Financial, and his performance doubled with that one change.
Wow.
So yeah, it
Wow.
can be simple as a creative change, demographic targeting. Sometimes, a lot of the times, the first thing I'll do is optimize the demographic. What states are they targeting? What age? What gender? So I work with them, and it's on a case by case basis, because
Sure.
some partners we work with, they've been in the space for so long, they already have their work optimized. And some partners that we have, they're fairly new, so they need some guidance, and I'm more than happy to help them out, because I look for a win-win situation. I look for us to make money, for the affiliates to make money, for the insurance partners that we work with to make money and get more customers. So for me, I always look at things as win-win. What can I do to make this a win-win situation for everyone involved?
That's awesome. That's awesome, and that's a huge asset to any publisher that's out there, affiliate that's out there in the marketplace, to have that insight and to have you as like, hey, I'm sitting behind the computer. I watch what's working all day long, and what you're doing is good, but I think that with a couple tweaks, it could be even better. And if your goal in this campaign is to monetize your traffic as best as humanly possible, then this might be a change, that you want to do. So that's great. Um, what conversion rates, right? You talked a little bit about analytics. I don't know how deep you can get into this, but can you give us some insight? Let's pick apart auto insurance. Okay, that's kind of the creative that we were talking about before. Can you give us some insight? From your position of what's a good, what's a mediocre, and what's a terrible, you know, conversion rate, whether it's, traffic to landing page to lead to call. Do you have any type of analytics like that that you could share with the audience saying like, hey, if you're here and you think that you're doing good, you might not be doing so good. And if you're here and you don't think you're doing so well, you might be happy to find out that if, you were to come to Smart Financial or another network, they would value your data and your calls significantly more than perhaps where you're at now.
Mm-hmm. So on my end, what I can look at is I can view when a user gets to our offer page. And
Mm-hmm.
from there, I can track the actual conversion flow. So typically from the user visiting the website to the actual time they convert, I would say average is 15 to 20% conversion rate.
Okay.
Anything lower than 15%, there's probably room for opportunity. If they're around 13 or 14%, it's easy. Let's just tighten up a couple things. If they're under 10%, then that's like, to me, I'm like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on here. And then anything above 20%, they know what they're doing. There's not really much for me. There's not much more for me to do other than to see what we can do to improve it further. But they already have a good grasp on the situation. And that first conversion rate from the user visiting the website to actually submitting their information, that's one part of the quality score.
Okay.
The other thing I look for is that call conversion rate. So what I look to see is the leads that did come through, which of them were able to get on the phone with the agent, that are partner agents based on on a customer's location, which ones were willing to listen and talk with an agent in their area. So that tells me that they're targeting users that the users they're acquiring are interested. They really do want to look for insurance. So for me, I would say the same rate, about 15 to 20% is what we expect on those
Okay.
leads to actually convert to calls. Anything higher than that is fantastic. Anything below 15%, that's okay. Let's look for issues, and anything under 5%, that's a red flag to me. So
Okay.
typically, I've seen that anything under 5%, I look through the ad quality feedback scores, and that's another part of the whole quality scores, and to see if there's any activity on there that could be questionable. And
Okay.
at that point, and then I'll work with the supply partner and let them know. I'm very transparent about it. Hey, this is what we're seeing. This is the reports I have to back up this situation. What can we do here? Can we figure out what's going on? Is there a technical setup problem? Is the supply partner not being truthful with their sources? Let's kind of discuss the situation. So those kind of situations I get on immediately and work with the supply partners to figure out, because I want to figure out a way to make it work. I don't like cutting people off.
Yeah, of course. That's very kind of you.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that 15, 20% or 20% higher of traffic to actually converting a lead is they know what they're doing. So I think what the audience would want to know is those people, those types of traffic source that are converting at that high amount. What type of traffic sources are they? Are we talking about social media? We're talking about search? We're talking about email? We're talking about native display? Like, can you give us some insight into that? If a guy wanted, let's say he's working in another vertical like mortgage that's been hit hard because of social distancing and COVID, he wants to move over into the insurance vertical. Could you give him some insight into, how to create maybe a good campaign on the first try, like what type of traffic he should really be pushing towards the landing page?
Ideally, the strongest kind of traffic we can get is search traffic.
Okay.
We have our own search traffic as well, but there's other folks that also run search, and that kind of traffic tends to be the best performing overall. The next after that, I would say, is email, and specifically first-party email sources.
Okay.
Any third-party email sources typically don't perform as well as first-party.
Okay.
And like you said with the mortgage guys, those guys tend to have data that have an audience very similar to folks that would be interested in home insurance, which
Sure.
we also sell. So, I have been getting a lot of mortgage and refi folks approaching me asking, hey, is there anything we can do here? Is there any opportunity? And I said, do you have first party data? Yes. Okay. And they have, they tell me they have refi mortgage data. Great. Let's run home insurance. That's going to be a perfect fit because your audience already has a home, which is the first requirement for home insurance is
Yeah.
have a home. So at that point, then, so that data becomes valuable for us because it's first party email data that they have access to. And then after that is going to be, I would say, social sources like Facebook, Snapchat, that kind of thing. Native sources, display, and any programmatic kind of fall within the same category because there's a lot of targeting involved and to get the user to follow through. Generally speaking, if you look at the scheme of things, what we're looking for is intent. We want to find customers that are intent on that wake up and say, you know what, I want to find a cheaper insurance rate. What's the best way to go about this?
Sure.
That's why search tends to be number one because the first thing they're going to do is Google it. But if they're already on a list with partners, let's say, like with my lender, for example, if they partner up with someone and say, hey, Lenny, here's some home insurance rates opportunities in your area, yeah, I'll probably be more inclined to look at it because I'm already an interested user. They already have my information. And, if I'm subscribed to, if it's an opt-in first party list, there's already interest right there in looking at offers potentially.
Interesting. Really interesting insight. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Last question I want to ask you. Okay. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
what's got you most excited at the moment?
At the moment, I'm most excited for this quarantine to be over. Because one thing I love about this industry is I love going to trade shows. I love going to the conferences, Affiliate Summit, LeadsCon, all of them. I love going to those and just meeting with the supply partners and that I work with face to face. A phone call can only do so much. When you have that face to face meeting, that at that point is just really great because you get to see, and meet the other person behind the keyboard that you're talking to, behind the phone, and it's just great to just shoot the shit. I don't know if you can say that. It's
You can
true.
say whatever you want.
It's great to just kind of be in a relaxed environment and catch up and just have some small talk and then some business talking. Kind of understand exactly where your goals are and how you can help with the partner's goals and just understand each other more on a deeper level.
What
So
conference are we most likely to see you at, man? Give me two that we're most likely to see you at.
I'll always be at Affiliate Summit West and East for sure.
Nice. Those are good ones. ASE and ASW are fantastic. All right, man. If an affiliate wants to get a hold of you, Lenny, what are you most responsive on? How do they get in touch with you?
Send me an email. It's lenny@smartfinancial.com, Lenny @smartfinancial.com. That's
Okay.
the easiest way to get a hold of me. I'm pretty bad. I don't want to say bad as in it's a bad thing. I'm obsessed with looking through my emails because I don't like having an email inbox full of unread emails.
One of those
So
guys.
yeah, exactly. So my goal is to always make sure that the inbox is clear and make sure I follow up with everyone and make sure I follow up with everything at the end of the day.
Beautiful. Well, hey, man, I think that you shed a ton of insight on what affiliates should be looking at and looking for in any insurance offer, why they should work with Smart Financial, and what you and the Smart Financial team are doing to add value to affiliates so that they can make more earnings per call. So thanks again so much for being on the show. Tell the rest of the crew over at Smart Financial, Lev and Michael, that we say hello. And thanks so much, man, for coming on the show. We're excited to have you on and excited to continue working with you.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, Bill. Thank you for the opportunity. And look forward to meeting you sometime at Affiliate Summit or once this whole quarantine is over.